Hello, one and all. Welcome to the Sentai Riders United podcast, where we talk about Toku and everything else that's on our minds. So today, I would introduce Sebi at the moment, the Otaku Blogger, aka all the other nicknames we give him, but unfortunately he's kind of MIA at the moment, so I will excuse him for the moment. Anyways, let's continue this orgy of people, if you want to call it that. So, we first have CJ here.
How's it going, my friends?
Then we have Frogs, as we call him.
Howdy.
Then we have Volt.
What up, everybody?
Then we have the newest member of the team, because unfortunately, Bohong, I still think that's funny, I'm sorry, but the Bohong actually bowed out of it, so we actually found a replacement, and here we have the newest member, Dylan.
Hello.
And then we decided we were going to do a guest star thing, especially since Sebi's not here tonight, so introducing the newest guest star, we have Tony!
Hey guys.
So, first off, before we do anything else, now because Dylan's a new member, and we did this last time for the new member, so I was thinking we'd do it for Dylan and Tony just quickly before we go on with our topics and everything. So, Dylan, what is your background like Tokusatsu and all? Tell us kind of about you and your relationship with Toku.
Well, I started watching around Power Rangers Lost Galaxy in '99. That was when I first started watching it. And then I always watched Power Rangers since then. And then, basically, I think around 2008, I started hearing about that Power Rangers was from Japan and stuff. So I started watching clips and stuff from there, and then I didn't actually start watching all the shows till about maybe 2 years ago with Kamen Rider Forze.
Interesting. That's very good. I'm glad you got into it, and I'm glad you enjoy. Welcome, and I'm glad you're here. And Tony, since you're a guest star, I want to introduce your stuff as well. So talk just about you and Tokusatsu as well.
My history with Tokusatsu stems as far back as with Power Rangers. I became a fan of Power Rangers, I think, as far back as, I want to say, 3 years old, I think? With Mighty Morphin, of course. I kind of kept up with it through elementary school. I know that Lightspeed Rescue and Lost Galaxy were in second and third grades, respectively. I first started hearing about Super Sentai, I think, when I want to say I was in high school, I think. Don't quote me on that, though, but over the last couple of years or so, I've kind of found out more and more about Super Sentai and Kamen Rider and such. Believe it or not, though, I didn't actually start watching Super Sentai up until Kyoryuger started, though.
Okay. So, anyways, now that we got all of the little introductions out of the way, we are going to go, of course, on first to the news of the week. So first we are going to talk about Genrobuchi, and that there was a news report talking about, and all of these are not only in the description below, but not the current one, but when we get down the podcast, they'll be in the description below. But these are also, I want to give credit to Orange Range for giving these, so so thank you, Orange Range. Anyways, so that Genrobuchi hasn't written the finale yet, but he said he was going to after Anime Expo, and that he revealed in the panel that it was the longest show that he's worked on, and it's the third to the last and second to last episodes he wrote on the plane ride. So once he gets back to Japan, he said he would write the finale. So essentially, probably by the time he's written the finale by now. But what do you guys think of that? That finally Gaim has finally been written, and it's pretty much set in stone at this point now.
I think I did believe that I hear that he actually did finally finish writing it. Like earlier this week is when I think I heard that he was just done. Like finally.
Oh wow.
I heard a while
that's
ago
gonna be impressive.
I heard a while ago that he actually writes his finales first before.
Yeah, he always writes the ending first.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
But in this case, since the structure of the show is a little bit different, I'm not surprised that it's supposed to be that he's writing it chronologically with Guy.
No, well, I mean, he does write the ending first because with Guy, I remember at the very first episode that was supposed to be
technically, yeah.
That actually is supposed to be the ending of Guy right there. Well, in a way,
That is a
that's
good
supposed.
point.
Yeah, that's supposed to be the last episode or so.
At the
So
moment,
Yeah, that's definitely near then.
sense though.
Maybe. I just think maybe it's just a possible future that could happen. But I definitely think by the end of the series they're going to be going back to that full circle. So, but that was just a quick bit of news for Gaim. And speaking of Gaim again, we're going to now stuff for the movie. It's that there are actually a few actors that are going to be making an appearance in the Kamen Rider Gaim movie, being let's see, Mitsuru Karashi, who, for all you Shinkenger fans out there, who played Juzo, played that guy, and Hiroya Matsumoto, which should be very familiar to Maji Ranger fans and even Go Busters fans, because he played Maji Yellow and Beat Buster. So, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Actually, you missed one. The first one, I forget his name. The one you said from Shinkenger, he actually played a pretty big role in Kamen Rider 5. He was there the entire show.
Really? He did? I never knew that.
He was the Snake Orphanok.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just realized. Yeah, they... wow.
There's also that. Oh, yeah, he was... No, wasn't he one of the, like...
He was also in O's
the
Wonderful.
Steel Fives? The Fives driver?
Yeah, he wore the Fives driver. He was one of the Fives troopers. And he used another belt, I believe.
I think Delta.
Probably Delta. Either Delta or Kaiser.
I would have to probably check on my own for that, but either way.
He also made an appearance in the O's Wonderful movie.
Oh, yeah, no. He was the rocker.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But what do you guys think of that, though, that these two guys are going to be in the Guy movie?
I'm really, really happy for both of them because they're both incredibly good actors.
Agreed.
I will third that.
I mean...
I prefer to see them in one of their previous roles.
Matsumoto, he comes in as Jin for Go Busters. He's told, be kind of like a shady, sleazy kind of guy. And he played a shady, sleazy kind of guy.
Well, I think just what I have seen about Hiroya, he can play pretty much anything. In Maji Ranger, oh yes, in Maji Ranger he, the green one, and you're going, and I feel bad because I can't remember his names. The green one, he was the protective one. Well, so was his character.
Tsubasa. Yellow.
Tsubasa. Yeah, Maji Yellow. So was Tsubasa in his own weird kind of way. But then, he goes from being a caring, kind of stern person in that to being sleazy and just nyah. And Ghostbusters, and it works.
I have no idea if he had work in between, but the other side of this is Karashi, and I'm a huge Shinkenger fan, and I really think that show wouldn't be as great if Juzo didn't happen.
I would have to completely agree with that.
Yeah,
not to brag very much. Shinkenger has always been my favorite Sentai from the very beginning. So yeah.
Shinkenger, I've only gotten to like episode 16.
He's Juzo. The white. The white ghetto shooter with the red mask.
Oh, Decker from Samurai?
Yes, Decker from Samurai.
Okay.
But much better, and he's not played by a terrible person.
Yeah, I'd have to kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
But technically, we're going to talk about that. That's actually part of our main topic, but we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later.
Yeah,
perfect. We just did foreshadowing. Foreshadowing, everybody.
No,
Yay!
you're doing it
Foreshadowing.
wrong. You have to do it like this.
Anyways, so
Foreshadowing.
now that we got out of that way, there was also some news about Maui Chimichi joining the Tokuger movie
mean
cast
my baby.
as
Yay!
as
Wait a minute,
ladies
hold up, I will
puppet.
fight you.
You mean my baby joining the Tokuger cast? That is my wife. That is my heart and my soul right there.
You guys can fight over as much as you want. Just don't
Yeah.
touch Nadeshiko. Don't touch
That-
Kamen Rider Nadeshiko. I'll kill
I
you.
don't care. I don't
Okay.
care for her.
Okay. This is getting creepy.
Guys, they don't even.
Hey, isn't that the point sometimes? No, I'm
What did
kidding.
Dylan, what did
Anyways,
Dylan say?
The same language as you.
I will point out one thing because I'm looking at the screen cap here, and I don't know if this is a throwback or anything, but on the hat of the puppet and on the vest you have fruits. More specifically, a strawberry. I believe that's a mango, and then on the chest you have an orange.
What?
No, the one that's on the chest,
I mean,
it looks
you
like
can't
it
like
actually looks more
fruits in
like a
general.
cherry, and then the one on the hat looks more like a pineapple.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
People just kind of like fruits in general.
Well, yeah.
Well, now it's time happening. They're
You know, there. Yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
But anyways,
Although-
what do you
Anyway,
what do you guys think of Maui Chimichi joining the cast? What do you guys think?
They love throwing
I'm-
older people into random voice works.
Yeah.
She actually
will-
does a lot of. She actually does a lot of voice work. She's in Samurai Flamenco.
Which I haven't seen, but I'll
Go on.
take the fire here. Because in Gokaiger, she was good. Her character was good. There were just a few
Mhm.
moments in her performance that kind of slipped, and they were kind of more glaring to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't seen or heard any of her voice work, so maybe she's more comfortable in doing
Oh no,
voiceover.
she's actually done like some things I've seen. I didn't even know she was in that, and I was like, wait a minute, what? I love you.
But,
Oh goodness. But yeah, now we're gonna get on to the big stuff. This is technically 3 articles at the same time, but all of them really relate to each other because they talk about the newest Kamen Rider that's going to be coming out, Kamen Rider Drive. And the 3 articles, if I can, pull these bad boys up, and my computer won't be a piece of crap. Darn you, Windows XP, FTW. Anyways, but there was some news that's been going on the last 2 weeks about Kamen Rider Drive. The Drive, the Rider belt's been trademarked as the Drive Driver, which I think all of us can agree that is freaking redundant as all hell.
Yeah.
That is
redundant isn't even the word for it at this
a good
moment.
example of Japan understanding how English works.
Yeah.
Exactly. Doraibu, Doraiba.
Good.
And then
I just hope it has the most annoying voice in the world. That's what I'm praying for at this
I
point.
hope not either.
I hope it does.
Wait, why?
Like as soon as you turn it on, it goes Doraiba! Something crazy.
Oh god! Oh god! No! That's all.
Oh,
I need
no.
is the freaking conductor from Tokuger being the voice of the driver.
oh no.
That's too good.
So it always
I just needed to do something amazing like that.
It's like driver. Just
Wait. What did Dylan say? You're kind of quiet.
kind of like in because Tokuger they always say the name twice, never
Yeah.
just once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like driver.
Driver.
Anyways, getting back to
No,
it,
okay.
then we have.
Since it's the 7th writer, it's gonna say it 7 times.
No,
Baby. Maybe
No, I.
business card.
Well,
I
I'll tell
mean,
you-
oh, go ahead.
Okay.
I'll tell you what
Anyways, or tell me what. Sorry.
I'll tell you what, while we're talking about redundancy, if you go back and watch Lightspeed Rescue, one of their mechs was Omega Megazord.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, but
That
that's
was
just
my
sounds.
favorite story.
Yeah, but
The
that
old-
doesn't sound too bad. But yeah, Drive sounds like a really weird name for a driver. Anyways, on to the next one. That was just a short one. Now we get the two bigger ones. It's that there was a rumor surfaced of a photo of spy photos of pictures of Drive's car. And though it says that it's not been confirmed yet that Drive will indeed drive a car, this is the first time in a while that a rider has ever driven a car, because the last time they did that was in Kamen Rider Black RX. So it fits the theme. But what do you guys think about him driving a car? Or let's say if this is really his car, what do you think of that?
I think it would be awesome with the right directing and camera work.
Yeah,
I'm working on a solution for this bit. Da, 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 da.
Yeah,
I mean-
but I think there's something that all of us have seen about it that I think we can point out.
Knight
It
Rider.
looks kind of like the Pegasus Thunder.
Or Red Lightning.
You totally stole that from me. And
Yes,
no,
I did. I know I did. So
it would be Lightning Cruiser, not.
I call it
Red
Pegasus Thunder because I watch Car Ranger, because I think
Well, Turbo.
Rangers.
Whatever.
No, I think Car Ranger is better
okay.
than Turbo.
Tur-
We'll get to that. We'll get to
Oh
that.
God, Turbo is my favorite series. Don't even.
I'm just putting this
Well,
up
this is
for
gonna be a
everybody
battle
else.
then, Adrian.
Time.
But yeah, this looks like they just painted a lot of black onto the Pegasus Thunder slash.
Yeah,
Like,
I have to
What's
kind of
going on with
agree.
the wheels on the trunk?
Yeah. they
I'm
have
really
that.
sure at some point this thing's gonna have like an ejector seat.
Oh,
It's-
I thought of something funny. I just thought of something on the
Nope,
spot.
nope, I'm
The
stuck.
wheels on the trunk go round and round, round and round.
oh God.
What do they do though? Is it flip upside down? Maybe it transforms?
It's gonna
I'm-
fly.
That's what I was
For me,
thinking. I was thinking-
I definitely have to. When I look at this thing, I just get my hopes and dreams up that we're gonna have the return of the Power Dizer.
Yes, that would be so
Yes.
cool.
But I really think this is gonna be. I believe CJ said this once, but it's gonna be a la the Bat Pod from Batman: The Dark Knight.
Yeah, kind of
Yeah,
maybe like that.
I have a
Maybe
feeling
not
it's going to be
cars.
just because all the Kamen Riders, recently with even the ones before Black RX, they all had a motorcycle.
Yeah, I
Black
think
RX
even Black
had a
RX had a
car.
bike.
Yeah,
No,
he
Black
had
RX actually had a bike too.
he had
Yeah,
a bike and he had the car. He had both. But since then, it's always been a bike. So as Noah said, the way that I thought it was going, I think it's going to happen is it's going to pull the Dark Knight Batmobile where he hits the button and here pops out the Bat bike. It's just like, oh,
I don't know how they're gonna do that though, but that would
It's
still
kind
be
of like
cool.
what Kamen Rider Double did that. Same with
Well, that's the reason why there's wheels on the back. They configure and they turn into the bike.
also the bike and Dino attaching to the trains.
Yeah, man. And
Yeah, I
then
kind of agree
I
with
can't.
that.
I can't count how many mecha we've had that are piloted by cars being driven into them, and then they use the steering wheel as a way to drive them, or just steering wheels in general. Hi,
However,
Bokenger, how are you?
all right.
Anyways.
I see where you're
For those who
Then-
think that's me making a jab at Bokender, it's not. I really do love that show.
going. Yeah.
That's what I thought it was for a sec, but
No.
anyways. Now we get to, I think, the article that I think has been getting the most buzz out of all of it is that there were actually some spy shots of Kamen Rider Drive of the suit versus a Monster of the Week that have surfaced online. And Noah, do you want to bring up the image of that?
I'm working on it, but
think you are.
there's still parts of me that wonder if this is actually Drive himself or.
Maybe. It
I don't
could
know.
be.
It looks like it could be just because the car is in there. Because
Mhm.
what little bit I have seen of W that involved Excel, there was no car in it that dealt with Excel, and this is this car here is the same car used or that's been rumored to be Drive's. So it looks like it could be Drive. Either that or they found Excel and they brought him out of the grave.
God,
So,
plot
I don't
twist.
know.
Plot twist.
Why would
Wait, plot
Excel?
twist? Plot twist?
What?
That is Cheetah Nick.
Yes,
Yes,
Yeah,
all
like
the
it.
win.
See, my question there is, why would Axel need a car? He could turn into the bike.
Exactly.
Good point. Good point. But then again,
mean,
why
But
would
can't
he?
Cheetah Nick do that too?
Maybe it's not his.
I just realized
Maybe
Cheetah
it's the
Nick can turn into a
villain.
bike too.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah, they can both turn into
Axel
bikes.
is Cheetah Nick.
But
No,
anyways,
I want to
from-
see the one right on top of another.
that would be funny.
I'm. They had that.
But anyway,
It was in the movie where Ultimatum with Wizard. They had Nadeshko riding on the back of Axel in bike mode.
Oh
I
wow.
love. I don't know why, but I had really weird thoughts when I saw that, and I think most
Josh?
people did too.
You had weird thoughts. That's possible for you.
Oh my.
Screw you.
Don't make me go get George Takei.
Oh my.
All right.
Don't give me Kota's don't make me get Kota's reaction faces out.
No.
I love those reactions. Have you seen the Hyper Battle video? Oh god.
I know.
No. Yeah.
You mean like this, Adrian?
Don't do it. Yeah.
Wait. I need the full frame.
Oh, jeez.
There we go. That's better.
All right. Now the lollygagging's all
So
over.
now, what does everyone think of the actual like design? From the little that you can see, what does everyone think of how it looks? Even if it is the second coming of Axel.
I mean,
Pixel.
Okay.
just from what I can see of
enough.
it looks okay. I mean, I would have to actually see a much better shot of this to make a good judgment on it.
I would probably have to agree.
I do
All I
say
see-
I do agree though that it does look like a combination of Excel. It looks like Excel and Cheetah Nick had a love child, and this was what happened.
That would be really funny. Though probably Akiko would get pretty angry about that.
Well, I don't care what they think. You know, they just like, oh, I love you. Let's have, you know, and then we have this.
Oh my god, my friend made it. I said there's a lot of red on that thing on him, and my friend made a really good point. There are already a lot of red riders, and we don't need any more red.
Yeah. Let's have
More
a
red.
predominantly
Red is
blue.
the color of victory.
Red is like a
No,
dominant color.
that's actually a legitimate thing. Red is the color of victory. That's why
It
there's
is.
so.
I mean, that is a
so
good
much red.
point.
But
Yeah.
It just
In my
Wizard
opinion-
was enough.
Dylan, you can go.
Yeah. Oh.
Or whomever was gonna go, they can talk.
I was gonna
Okay.
say that
Go ahead.
I can't make up a lick of sense out of this. It's too fuzzy, too pixely, and personally, I'm not gonna make a judgment that is Drive until I actually like have a news thing showing Drive himself. For all we know,
Right.
he might have a support character like Cheetah Nick or
Second
something.
fight.
Yeah.
Those
You know,
tend
it
to
is
be
possible.
popular.
I mean, who here remembers the Autovagine from Thighs?
I do.
Hardly.
Me.
Vaguely.
Okay,
So-
but I can't really make out as much here, but I do, even though it is pixelated, I can see basic shapes and basic, form of it, and it looks to me like it kind of has, like, the red, and then it has the white center, but then it looks like it has a clearer visor. Like, there's no, like, color to the visor from what I can see, so to have a little bit of a clearer visor like that, I think it's kind of cool, and it looks like it almost covers the entirety of the face, and then it has kind of black and then the white there, and then it looks like it has the white on the top of the boots and everything. And I will admit, even though it may be the second coming of Axel, I actually don't think it looks that bad from what I see. I actually think it looks pretty promising, even from how pixelated it is. I can't say for sure, but from what I can see with my own eyes, it does look somewhat promising to me. So I am legitimately excited to see what more is to come.
if we're talking about
It
what
does
we're saying, oh, go on, Dylan.
Oh, I think, yeah, like that would be really cool if I had a windshield like maybe mask, almost.
Yeah.
So maybe a more ranger like front instead of a rider like eyes.
Yeah.
Because Gaim did kind of change the consistency with the dual eyes, with the bug eyes.
Kind of.
Yes.
I mean, you still got the slight compound effect running around.
Well,
But-
the slight compound effect is still there somewhat, but it's a lot. It's much more. It's a lot reduced. It's
And the fact that it's
significantly
a
reduced.
rider.
That's the word.
There are some people who do have the bug eyes in a way. I mean, Peach Energy is a great example. Sigurd was another.
Well, he's dead, so he
Mhm.
doesn't count anymore.
What the hell? Oh god. I mean, okay, so if we're talking about what we think we see, I look at this thing and I see, okay, so on the helmet, I see glare, and then next to the glare,
yeah.
I see two dragon-like chameleons crawling across his face, and then on the body, I see a dragon wrapping around his torso. And then for the legs, I see if it looks like they're reusing the Adidas Ichigo stripes or whatever. And then for the
wow.
for the femur and down, I see the Bata legs but painted red. Like Bata from
Yeah,
O's.
no. If he's got a whole bunch of dragons wrapped around him, that's going to be cool.
That
Yeah.
is definitely.
Hey,
I think you should
incorporate driving and incorporating driving and dragons. I'm in.
That is like
legit
legit what I see right now.
race cars, but appears to be more sports cars and stealth-like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one.
I really hope
one
this just doesn't turn out to be Knight Rider with Kamen Riders.
That would be
Oh,
pretty
God,
great.
no. I mean that'd be
Well,
interesting. to see.
If
Oh.
it was old school Knight Rider, yes. If it was the new
Yes.
one,
No.
You guys think
No.
that would be
Watch
multiple
the car. The car's gonna talk, and it's gonna be named like Kite instead of Kit.
well, no, we
Oh,
can't.
it could
We
be
can't call it Kit
Kite.
because
If
No, no, it's
Yeah.
called Kite.
If it's
It's
called
called
kite,
kite.
then it would be kite. It would either be kite or kaito because it's the talk.
Yeah, they can't say kite. They say kaito.
Which means, wait, that means Baron is in all reality a car. Baron is like Axel because he can turn into a vehicle. Okay, sorry, making bad guy references.
I can't
No.
bear
Yes.
the idea.
Do you guys think there will
Okay.
be a bunch of riders like there were in Gaim?
I heard that pun.
I don't know. Going on that one, we seem to be having that a lot. Well, let me take that back. It's been, okay,
Because I can see that
One-
working for cars.
right. I mean, and there's different makes and models of cars. It could be just something, something with wheels. So it may not be specifically cars. And if it goes in that aspect, there's hundreds of there's
They could-
thousands
Ooh.
of bits of potential that they could do.
Or it could just be randomly
oh.
vehicle based, not just vehicle based in the sense of cars, but could be vehicles
Yeah,
like there could be a plane
yeah,
rider
driving a
or
plane.
something
Right.
like
No,
that.
I just had a great thought of how this could go.
What?
What?
So, maybe it's not just he has a car. It's whatever. Like he gets into a vehicle and henshins, and the car transforms with him, kind of like how Chalice's bike does. Because for a good chunk of the show, Chalice's like real identity needs to stay hidden. So his bike transforms with him. But when Hajime transforms into Chalice, the card portal goes in front of him, and the bike and him go through, and it transforms into Chalice and Shadow Chaser.
Wow. That
That is
awesome.
an interesting thought. And
Exactly.
it could be that each individual form, because that tends to be the running gag here, here lately. One rider has multiple forms. The running gag with this one could be each form pertains to a different kind of vehicle. He could have he could have the red car. He could have a blue bike, a green jet. Just
Monster truck.
Yeah, I mean, just
I mean,
there's a lot of different possibilities that this could go at
I,
this
Let the
point.
parts fall into his head and unfold just like Gaim.
That would
I
be-
will say this one thing. That's going to be one really fast car because not only is it a car in a tokusatsu, it's red, thus making it
Yes.
30% faster.
That's like 10
Red cars
horsepower.
go 35% faster, automatically.
Yes.
Yep.
If that thing gains flames, oh god.
Don't even get me started on flames.
Just add a couple more stripes.
Add a couple more stripes, it goes about 60% faster.
Yep.
So my friend is messaging me right now. He's talking about how what if they had a whole episode dedicated to the fast food, so he goes through a drive-through and there's the monster.
Oh dear God.
That would be a very odd direction to take for Kamen Rider. That would be a
Kamen
very
Rider
odd
Drive
direction.
through?
I don't know,
Okay, what
man.
about a drive-through fruit villain?
Uh,
Guy versus Drive.
Maybe for the movie next year.
I mean, the movie war. Movie war drive-through. Movie war drive-through.
Movie war drive-through. It's a fruit drive-through.
Could you imagine that just
Right.
bebopping through? Get stopped. I need to stop at a McDonald's.
Oh,
Hi,
God.
can I get 2 fruit smoothies pulled up? Oh, you're a monster. Time to fight. Bang
He's
bang.
like saying some really good ideas. So what about a hands-free mobile device's power-up, like a GPS or something like that?
I don't know. All I can say is this is going to be interesting.
Someone gives him a smartphone power-up and he crashes.
Wow.
Oh God, that could be a whole episode. Don't drive and text.
Oh no, I'm really sure they're gonna make that an episode. It's been plaguing
Oh,
a lot of
probably.
places.
That makes the series end early.
Either way,
No.
we are not
That
having
was-
another decade. We are not having another decade.
That went dark and
why are
morbid
we having
even
another
for
decade?
me.
I love decade.
I mean, in the
What's wrong
sense
with
of
decade?
ending early. That's what I meant.
Oh,
Uh,
I'm gonna pull an Eric Paul.
Technically, it never ended.
yeah.
well,
Yeah,
that is true. Technically,
Decade never ended.
no, because he's
No,
still
technically
wandering.
it did. No, actually, no. Wait.
We never got the final movie that is supposed to be the end of Decade.
Well, it was
Story
supposed
events.
to be in Movie War 2010, but...
Well, no, hang on. I actually see the point. Granted, we are kind of diverting from our main topic, but I do see the point.
Slightly.
The fact that Decade technically has not ended means that Decade, because of his, jumping through portals and to go to these different worlds, he's practically the one writer who stays a permanent writer the longest. For the most part, the other writers, before him and then after him, before the current, they don't come back. Like, very rarely. They'll come back for like a movie or so. But Decade comes back a lot more than the rest of them do.
Oh well, yeah.
Maybe they'll have him for year 20.
Some writers are still writers. I mean, it's pretty much stated at this point. The current Kuga running around is no longer the one from Decade. It's the original Kuga that he somehow got his powers back.
And Momo Taros is running around
Interesting.
as Den-O, basically.
Well, that's because
Yes.
the guy who plays Ryotaro did not
Disappeared.
age. No, he did not age well.
The kid?
No,
Oh God. Okay, now I've got to go look this up.
the guy who played Ryotaro, he's like
The one in the show or the child
in the
version?
show.
The show.
He's like 26, 27 now, and he looks like he's 48.
Oh, that's sad.
Ugh. What did he do? Smoke a pack a second?
Terrible. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why. Like, if you actually go and look at Ryotaro at the beginning of Den-O, and then I believe it's the movie with
Eva?
the movie that debuts New Den-O.
Oh.
He
Uh-huh.
looks a lot older. and it hasn't been. It's been like a year, and he
Yeah,
looks
they only have like a year to make
5
them.
years.
Holy Jesus! Yeah. Well, he doesn't look quite as old as what you're saying, but he does look significantly older. I mean,
Yeah.
he went from looking like the teenager that he was supposed to be portraying in Dino to being. He looks like he's probably now in about his. I know you said he's like 26 or 27 now, but he looks like he's about in his appearance, just the way he looks. Looks like he's about
Yeah.
30, 32. And
Yeah.
it's just like, no, most Asians age well.
Yeah,
He
you
did
really
not.
get to keep their looks longer than most people.
Yeah. Some don't. Some actually like start gaining.
Then there's
the
guys
wrinkles.
That just got unlucky.
Yeah, they start gaining
Okay.
their wrinkles much.
Anyways, let's
Yeah.
get.
Here's the running gag. Here's the running gag. Most Asians age like a fine wine. Some, like other cultures, age like milk.
Yeah.
Anyways, now that we're finally done talking about Drive and then Forza and
All our
Decay
other
and all of
stuff.
these freaking things, let's finally get on to the main course that we've been waiting for, and that is, of course, Super Sentai versus Power Rangers in general. So, like, with other people, what their preference is, which we were thinking a lot about this in the sense that, of course, people in the Tokusatsu community, of course, are familiar with Super Sentai, but Power Rangers is what got people into Super Sentai, and yet they're two completely different series, and it's kind of a thing of adaptations. That even Power Rangers is an adaptation, but yet it's still its own thing. It's become its own phenomenon, just as Super Sentai has. So it's kind of like which one is better in the sense, and there's really no way of knowing for sure because it's all opinionated. But I just want to wonder from all of you guys. Well, of course, I'm going to go first because I'm the leader. No, I'm kidding, and unless you guys want me to. But on which is better, Power Rangers or Super Sentai, or vice versa, whatever.
Well, Thomas, we'll let you go first, and then I'll go next, if that's okay with y'all.
Sure.
Okay, we will go in the order. So, for me, to be completely honest, Super Sentai, and Power Rangers fans can get angry at me all day because Power Rangers is so much cooler. Power Rangers is English, all of this stuff that all the fandom says. But I honestly think Super Sentai is better, and I know that's the very cliche thing to say in the fandom, but honestly, I think it has a reason because Power Rangers, for me, yes, Power Rangers is what I grew up with. Power Rangers is what eventually got me into the Super Sentai franchise, but let's make a comparison. This is the best comparison I can make. Let's take Shinkenger, and let's take Power Rangers Samurai, which we foreshadowed. So,
Okay, wait a minute. Hang on a minute. Before we go open that can of worms,
Let's
you have to keep.
go ahead.
Okay. The way that I have to look at that one, making that comparison. Okay. The problem making that comparison, we all know what everyone's going to say, but you also have to understand that was the first year that, after at least 10 years, well, maybe not 10, but close to 10 years, that Saban came back and was doing Power Rangers. He had such a long time being out of it. So, I mean, you have to understand, between the time that he stopped producing Power Rangers and then the time, to the time that he got back, it was a long time. So, I can understand. Granted, no one liked it. Even I didn't like it, but I see the reason why he did it the way he did it by having it so close.
Then may I make a different comparison?
Hang on. There is one other part of this that a lot of people kind of don't know, and it's Saban kind of spent a pretty penny buying Power Rangers back from Disney. And so they didn't really have a lot of money to do a lot of original stuff. So they played Samurai really close to the chest and really badly.
Yes.
But remember the whole Megazord extra suit thing that they added? Their mega modes, as they called it.
Well, yeah, there's that, and then there's the really ugly Shogun mode. Which was
Shogun Mode was pretty damn cool, but
well, at first I thought it was their battleizer for Red at the time, and then it's like, no, everybody can use it. And it's like,
Why?
what's the point of the Super Jacket in this show when you have the Shogun mode?
Yeah.
But so that's why when it comes to comparing Power Rangers with Super Sentai, one of the best series you can use as the comparison to like definitely get the differences.
I think
is
it's RPM
Lightspeed.
is Go Haunter.
No.
Really? I would say
It's
RPM Go Haunter.
Go-Go 5. In
it's
Light,
what's-
it's Go-Go 5 and
Go-Go.
Lightspeed.
yeah.
Well, what I
Okay.
was going to use is I was thinking of, and probably some of you guys may not agree with me, but I was actually thinking of two different comparisons, because you could look at this from two different sides. You can look at it from my side, and I think of, though some people may rag on me for this, Ghost Sager and subsequently kind of Go-Kaiger with Power Rangers Mega Force, or Super Mega Force, or whatever you want to call that monstrosity. I know that Saban's still having trouble getting back into it, but at the same time, I still really do not like how they tried to adapt Megaforce because for me, Ghost Sager, I do like Ghost Sager to some extent. I don't like it as much as like stuff like Shinkenger and other shows, but I kind of like Ghost Sager, and I'm trying to find the best way to put it, but it has because of the whole thing with angels and stuff, it kind of has this religious background, and because of that, they didn't want to kind of adapt that, and because of the fact that because they're years behind and stuff, the 20th anniversary doesn't fall completely within what Go-Kaiger was doing, so they had to make the 20th anniversary happen during Megaforce's year. So,
To me,
And-
I'm sorry,
What?
go ahead.
well, I was just thinking with that, I'm sorry if my mind is all jumbled. I'm trying to find the best way to put it, and it's hard. But I just don't like Megaforce. I think the way that it's adapted isn't very good. I think the characters aren't very good. They do have original footage, you could say, and kind of using the Go-Kaigers as a bit of a super mode, if you could put it that way, isn't too bad, but still, it just doesn't really. The show just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work. While Ghost Sager at least had its themes and its background that could have worked, and they could have adapted it to make it better. There was, if you guys don't know, there was a parody dub by a guy on YouTube named Speed Racer Flubber, if you guys have heard of him, called How's That for Downloadable Content? And it was essentially where they took a part of an episode of Ghost Sager and they adapted it for video gaming, with the cards and the video gaming, kind of and the effect of what the Daiso were doing, Daiso game. And it mostly worked for the dub that it was going for, even if it's a fan dub, but it still worked. So the fact that they weren't the fact it could have been adapted without using its religious themes, and yet it was still adapted very badly, and seems honestly just like fan service for all the people that are like, yay, it's just like the old days with MMPR, which I've heard several people complain about that.
Well, okay. This is where I guess I mean, because there's a lot of things that are kind of factors to this. There's a lot of expenses involved with the filming of Megaforce and Super Megaforce because they are still in New Zealand.
Yeah.
That is the major thing, and they have said that they're going to bring it back stateside.
They do?
Saban has said that they're gonna bring it back to the States. Probably
No.
just Dino
I'll
Charge.
believe that when
No,
I'll believe
okay,
when it
so
actually
I-
happens.
No,
Yeah.
But-
I was originally auditioning for Dino Charge as a joke. Because I knew I for sure wasn't going to get it. But I was auditioning for Dino Charge. I read the form, and the requirements were you needed a passport to fly to New Zealand.
Nah, then I guess they're staying there for a bit longer because
Yeah.
Well, all
Yeah.
the were there.
But- But here's the other major part, and they have to fly their production crew over there, and this also has to do with the anniversary stuff. I mean, you have really good people like Jason David Frank and Jason Font,
Mm-hmm.
who are just, yeah, we'll fucking do it for free, because they love the community, they love their fans. But there are some people.
And not only that, you know, the lives that they made for themselves after they got done with Power Rangers made them successful enough to where they've got the money that they can basically do it for free.
To where they weren't typecast in other roles, they could still do other things.
But didn't.
Yeah, and so this creates a major problem because, well, I think at this point Power Rangers has tapped all of the really good New Zealand acting.
Which they're kind
Yeah.
of like show.
Mm-hmm.
But it is supposed. It's not even that it feels like the original MMPR, and there's a lot of people who will fight this and don't want to admit it, but it is supposed to be like the original MMPR. It's supposed to have the camp. It's supposed to have the cheese. It's supposed to be silly. But the thing is, that was great in the 90s.
But it
Yeah,
doesn't.
not
It's
now.
2014.
It's different when it's in HD.
Yeah. So
That
And-
was something that was actually something that I was going to say. Y'all kind of took the words right out of my mouth. How dare you? So that's okay.
but if you want lunacy and to see how bad this could have gone, you all want to go and look for it. It's on YouTube. I have it pulled up right now. It's from way back in the 1980s on USA Night Flight. They dubbed Dynaman.
Oh, Dynaman! Yes, I know this. I've seen
Really?
it. I've
Yes.
seen it.
What is this?
They dubbed for something for
They dubbed one of. No, they dubbed one of the older Sentai shows, like before even Jetman.
Yeah,
It was called
Was it Dynaman?
Dynaman. No, it was Dynaman.
it was
they
called
used-
Dynaman.
And they just called it Dynaman. And it was just so who here has seen the show MXC? It was on Spike for a few years. It was a dub
I know what
over.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, I know what
That
show you're
kind of
talking about.
dumb.
Yeah,
It was that dub style. It was mostly to be a parody. I mean, for goodness sake, when they're introducing the Rangers, the Blue, they changed his name to Frankie, and it's like, and Frankie, the human outboard motor is Dyna Blue.
The hell?
Oh dear God.
I've
They-
watched
they-
it, and it is
they-
hilarious in a very odd
They called him the human outboard motor.
What does that mean?
An outboard motor is that thing that you put on the back of your boat, and you're all like, nah, across the water. And then you have
Okay.
boats able to leap giant trees in a single bound, and it's really silly. And
Yeah.
I consistently use this as, it's at least not this, when I hear
Yeah.
people complaining about a dub. Because
Okay.
there's bad dubbing, and then there's dubbing that's done to make fun of what they're dubbing.
Dynaman is supposed to make fun, but it seems like they
Or
take
did we?
like. But it seems
Or
like
is
by
it the
trying.
dubbing that we get?
Or what'd you say, Adrian? Or no, frogs. Frogs. Gosh darn it! What do I keep doing? And Adrian.
That in this dubbing.
Mr. Frogs, we can't really understand
I
you.
lost him.
Well, while we wait for him to come back, I'll say my bit.
Go
The
ahead.
thing that I have to tell everybody to understand, because there are, you have the people who are in the middle who like both Power Rangers and Super Sentai, like myself, because I see them as two. They are the same thing, but at the same time, they are very separate entities. Then you have the people who are diehard Super Sentai fans, and they're just like, you don't mess with Sentai. Sentai is the best. And then you have the Power Ranger people who are just like, I disagree. Power Rangers is so much better. And it's just like, all right, okay, hold up a minute. The thing that I have a problem with, though, right now is, and Noah hit on this, it's the fact that right now what I am seeing is that Megaforce and vicariously Super Megaforce is it's almost an exact carbon copy of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from 1993. And as he said, that was fine then in '93. This is now 2014. Come on, get with the game. I have a personal feeling on Power Rangers. I actually, okay, when Saban first had it, when he had it from '93, when he had it from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers all the way through Wild Force, because Ninja Storm was the first one that Disney did that was
All
that
on
was
their
actually
own.
full on Disney. That was all on their own by Disney.
Mhm.
You know, I liked all of the ones, you know, original Saban, Mighty Morphin, Zeo, Turbo, In Space, Lost Galaxy, Light Speed,
And
Time Force.
when we get to
Wild Force was a little, but everyone has complaints on that one.
Yes.
Ninja
oh
Storm,
man, when I
we won't
go,
talk
go.
about that.
No,
Um,
no, no.
Won't talk about
No. I have jokes to make, so I'm going to.
Okay, do it.
Well, wait.
No,
Well,
no, no.
hang
I'm
on,
letting
hang
CJ
on.
finish.
Okay.
Once Disney took over Power Rangers, in my personal opinion, for the most part, in a way, Power Rangers took not a full, complete, darker shift, but it did take a shift in a darker direction. Um, I know that's kind of like a vague way of putting it, but it did seem, and at least in my personal opinion, it did seem to shift more into a darker aspect.
Yeah, it took itself more seriously.
Correct.
Its writing got more tight. Its story, its plots got more.
Complex.
Profound.
Overarching.
And you know, I loved that. I absolutely loved that.
Mhm.
And then you know, Saban, as was stated earlier, Saban spent a whole lot of money to get Power Rangers back, and you know, after seeing the way that he has taken it, you know, Samurai basically being a carbon copy of Shinkenger, and then Megaforce and then Super Megaforce being a carbon copy of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, with the only difference being that the new forms are used, the new suits and all that, because we all know how Mighty Morphin Power Rangers work versus Chi Ranger, Dai Ranger, and Kaku Ranger.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest. I personally wish Disney had not been willing to sell that back to Saban. I honestly personally wish that they would have looked at Saban and said, "No, it's not happening. We're keeping it. Go away."
Well, parts of that are kind of rough because at the point of what was happening, basically, when
They were done after
RP,
RPM. They weren't going to
when
make.
Yeah,
RPM was up, they were basically like, we're done
Yeah,
making
they weren't
Power
going to make
Rangers.
samurai and stuff. That's why
We
Spock got.
we're not selling as many toys as we used to be because while yes, um, the production costs are so much cheaper now that we're in New Zealand. And
Kids
it's
didn't care as much at the time.
Mhm.
well, it's not even that. The older fans were getting annoyed because I can't explain this super great because I don't know everything about the behind the scenes stuff. But if you want
Right.
someone who can kind of explain it a bit more, go to Linkara's History of Power Rangers videos. It's around Megaforce and such, where he talks about Bruce Kalish and how Bruce
Yeah.
Kalish
Yeah.
kind of
Couch
became.
version.
Talks about that in Dino Thunder.
Well,
Yeah, but
Yeah, you
and
brought up SPD as well.
Kalish kind of became the stab wound to the neck that was just letting Power Rangers bleed
Yeah,
out.
it became a problem.
well, I think I hear that With RPM supposedly being the last one, I think I hear that Jungle Fury was, supposed to be the last one.
Yeah, originally it was Jungle Fury that was supposed to be last.
Yeah, but Jungle Fury apparently it did really well, enough that they were like, okay, we'll try one more season. And the season that they pulled up was Go Onger.
Yeah, that's where I make the other comparison, is that I actually think Power Rangers, in some instances, can actually, and some people may disagree with me on this, actually do better than the Sentai version. Because for me,
I would agree.
is supposed to be something that's
silly.
It's supposed to be more silly. It's supposed to not necessarily have a grounded story, because it does have a grounded story. It does have characters and development and stuff, but it's not. Or I'm just saying it's. I don't think it's supposed to be completely serious. But then with RPM, it looks like they did take a more serious route. Though I will admit some of the characters are really annoying in that show. But at least they did try to take a more serious route and do something different and do something that's more serious. And they took, instead of the motif of like the animals and the vehicles and all, they turned in a bit of a more of like a what theme could I put on RPM?
They were more military.
Apocalyptic.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. What the easiest way to say what they did for RPM was they did Turbo again. They took what was supposed to be the parody series, and they turned it dark.
Kinda.
But
In
the
a
thing
sense.
is,
They tried.
they tried to, and this is going to earn me flack, but I honestly greatly dislike RPM. I think it's honestly pretty bad.
And there's nothing wrong with that. All of us have our opinions.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I mean, the only people you're going to really have to worry about are
Not on the
Power
internet.
Ranger
On the internet, if you don't obey my opinion, you are a terrorist.
Oh, pretty much.
But,
that's the way it is.
That's how pretty much everyone is, though. But just kidding.
A great example is I have a friend who watched RPM before he watched Go Onger, and he got through Go Onger and enjoyed it. And we have talked and debated this so much, and we can agree on one thing.
What?
Gem and Gemma are like a meme.
Yeah, that I will agree with.
What?
That 100%.
They're like a meme. They're really funny the first couple times, but after like the 40th time you've heard Boom Time, you wanna kill them.
Boom,
They were the only things I had a problem with in that show. I would have liked a more serious Gold and Silver Ranger, which is funny because the ones who did the opposite.
Well,
Yeah.
Gold and Silver in the Wings in Go Onger were the anchor for everybody else.
Yes.
They were the two that held the Go Ongers down from floating away into space. They were that loony.
Yes.
And then in RPM, they flipped that. So
Right,
we went
the
from having
whole
five.
team.
We went from having 4 loony characters, one kind of loony but serious guy, Gunpei, Go on Black, and then 2 serious characters who act as the main anchor. So you had the system of the Wings as the anchor, then you had Gunpei as the linkage, and then you had the other 4.
Which
But
are
now
much more.
But now you have.
4 serious.
No,
Ziggy's
you have. I honestly see all 5 as serious. I didn't find Ziggy very funny, and he was serious at times. But
Yeah.
and then you have 2 crazy people. And that's the thing.
And crazy's putting it mildly.
It doesn't work like that.
morphers.
Yeah. But one of the big things RPM did was it was more laughing at Power Rangers than with it. Because that's what Go Onger did. It laughed with Sentai. It's like, look how silly we are. But with RPM, more specifically, when they have that when they have that, they're all sitting down scene and they're asking questions of Dr. K.
Yeah.
God.
That's my favorite one.
And they're like, what's with the eyes on the Zords? Those are stupid. And Ziggy's all like, why are there explosions behind me all the time? Yeah, like that.
Well,
I'm
well, why do we say what we say when we morph?
exactly.
Yes, oh Lord, that
Seems like they're trying
you know,
to make fun of Power Rangers and Super
No,
Sentai and laugh at it.
They
Instead of-
were that
they were
was
doing
the
that.
point of that scene. It was them laughing at Power Rangers, not with
But
it.
you shouldn't laugh at your own thing. You should be laughing with it.
Well, no, there
never
are some
go on.
people who find that form of writing to be appealing, and
Mhm.
more power
Yeah.
to that crowd. The thing is, not everybody likes that, especially really hardcore fans of Power Rangers. They like that kind of stuff, and to have Power Rangers calling that stuff you love stupid is, in kind of a weird way, Power Rangers calling you stupid.
Yeah,
In a sense, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and so it's why whenever the topic of Super Sentai versus Power Rangers comes up for me, I really have to say the greatest way to show the diversity of the two is Go-Go 5 and Lightspeed Rescue. And it is so apparent in this season for many reasons. One of which is Dylan. I think we lost Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
I think it
Go on.
probably I think he lagged out.
Can I just
Well,
ask one thing? Noah, I just want to ask one thing. Is this comparison in a good way to Super Sentai or a good way to Power Rangers?
It's a good way in both.
Okay.
Like, don't worry, I know what I'm doing, but
I know, of course.
I guess can't wait for Dylan. But a great example, and we'll go a little bit further and use this as an example as well. Mighty Morphin Season 2, we herald in
Yeah.
Lord Zed, the very first American-made villain for Power Rangers.
yeah,
And then you fast forward all the way up to Lightspeed, and you get the Titanium Ranger. The
Yep.
first 100% American-made
American-made
Power
Ranger.
Power Ranger.
And for those,
Notice-
which
For those
in
who are
itself is pretty cool.
who are like, no, Go-Go 5 had a 6. No, they didn't, because it was in their
No.
name. There were 5 of them. It was Go-Go
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
They
Right.
he kind of technically had a number 6 in ways of some of the supporting characters
Yeah.
in battle, and sometimes there's silly moments in dubs, and Lightspeed has one that is really great. So if you've seen Lightspeed, you remember the scene when Ryan takes out the Max Solar Zord for the first time
Oh yeah.
to go help
Yeah,
against the 3 monsters.
yeah,
And it transforms into its Megazord mode and lands on the back of the Super Train and is standing there. And they're doing all the pan shots, showing off all of its body. And the entire time, in the footage, the Max Solar Zord is going like this.
Yeah. Which is
Because-
kind of,
In
Yeah.
Go-Go 5, that was the Max Liner, and it transformed into a mech called Liner Boy, who had an
Yeah.
AI and could talk.
Yes.
He was
Yeah.
Liner Boy was his own character,
Yeah.
and in a way, he was technically their Sixth Ranger by being a giant robot.
Exactly.
So it's silly stuff like that I love in Power Rangers, when you can spot when the Japanese footage is being used and when it goes back to the US footage.
Yeah, like
I-
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember one specific thing is I remember watching one time the Grand Liner debut and the whole thing with like the the how do I explain it? This is a really cool thing with Power Rangers. I honestly like this part in Go-Go 5 better than I do Lightspeed Rescue, but in Go-Go 5, the Grand Liner specifically for like the attacks and all, they specifically take energy from those bodies, and that's what creates the electrical shocks. Is it's so much power and that's what the training was for in Go-Go 5 before they used the Grand Liner. But in Lightspeed Rescue, what they did instead is those electric shocks that they got when they were doing it was power overload instead, and
because this he really is too powerful. That's why they kind of stopped using him in the show. The writers realized we have a god stick.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Kind of need to put this away for a bit.
But what I have to ask, though, is why did they do that in Lightspeed Rescue? Why did they make those changes in Lightspeed Rescue, though?
Because they wanted to save the idea of them taking the energy from the Power Rangers for later.
Oh,
for
to be
Life
in the
Force
Megazord.
But also because you have to remember how Super Train came about. They made modifications to the rail rescues. At the beginning of the show, they weren't originally able to combine into a robot. They modified the rail rescues, Fairweather even says this, to be able to transform into the Super Train Megazord.
And
right.
Yeah,
and
so this is what we call development bugs. So another great example of this, using him again, is if you actually watch the two sequences of the Go Liner going towards the ramp and going up it and flying off, and the same for the rail rescues, there's actually sound design differences too. Because in Go-Go 5, this actually does the train whistle and everything. Like, it has the steam shoot out the top, and it does the chugga, 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 chugga. Even when they fire the turbo thruster to go up the ramp, it does a steam valve release. But they don't do that in Lightspeed. They actually edited out the steam jet from the top when it was all like, go time! They changed it all to more like futuristic military sounds. And it's all do what you want. Like what you want.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of see good old Lightspeed as the one to me that really is the best for the argument.
Though I will admit, I do both like Lightspeed and Go-Go 5, though I honestly like Go-Go 5 a little bit better than Lightspeed, but Lightspeed is one of the ones that I do enjoy, at least to some degree.
Well, it is kind of... Go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
It is kind of interesting how, with Lightspeed Rescue, how popular the Red Ranger's gotten in recent times.
Oh, Carter Grayson. Carter Grayson's goal of battle combat.
That's mostly due to Linkara's History of Power Rangers video.
Yeah.
Thank you, Linkara.
But
although if you think about it, and I'll let you finish, Noah, I do apologize. You know, going on the argument of like Go-Go 5 and Lightspeed Rescue, it was the first time, at least from what I saw, at least from the American standpoint, that they did not have to hide who they were. It was known that these people were the Rangers.
Because, and this is another thing that was a first for them. This was like the first. Well, I don't know if I can say that for Lost Galaxy, but it's the first time that they were a military organization. But it wasn't just that they were military. They were rescue forces. And one thing about rescue forces is when they come up to help you, they make sure you're comfortable and you know that they're there to help. And one way to really do that is to make sure you know who that person is.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's why they're known. The idea of secrecy is silly for Lightspeed.
Yeah, so they're essentially a public army. So there's really no reason for them to hide their identities and no reason for them to be like, we're not the Power Rangers, even though everything shows that they are the Power Rangers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
There's the one. I remember there was one episode in Lightspeed Rescue where they had the robots be like, those are the robots as the Rangers, but those are specifically combat machines. But
yeah, it was the classic. Well, what about, do they have a heart storyline, and the
Yeah,
answer
but
is
at the same
no.
time.
And they weren't made for rescue. They were
They
made
were
to
made
fight
for
the
combat.
monsters. And the problem is, why would you create 5 combat machines that need to be controlled from one single remote that, if gets broken, the 5 highly skilled combat machines are going to go berserk and start attacking people?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Way to go, R&D.
Hmm.
But, and so, another kind of, I don't know if I can say it's a great example, but let's go with Geki and Jungle Fury. And more to the
Okay.
point, RJ. I mean,
RJ was the wolf, right?
yeah, he was also the, whoa, chill out, dude.
Yeah.
Which
He
a
was
lot
a
of people love.
stoner.
No. He was more to the point. He was a surf rat.
Like a hippie, sort of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
If he's a hippie, he's a stoner. Okay. Well, not really.
Okay, now you're just stereotyping.
Yeah,
which ain't good.
Well, for
'cause
the most part, it is true. But anyway, I digress. Go ahead.
My mom and dad were hippies in the day, but whatever. So when you look at RJ and then you compare him to his Japanese counterpart, which would be one of the guys I used to represent myself, Fukami Go, there's a massive difference because in Jungle Fury he starts as their Zordon. He starts as their mentor and their teacher and their leader. And
and then he becomes a Power Ranger.
Yeah, and then they have a direct episode that is about, well, what about Casey now?
Yeah, and then where he says, "Hey, I don't know if I'm really cut out to be team leader." And he's all like, "Oh, hey man, you are team leader. I'm just the second in command, you know."
Yeah, and I really enjoy episodes like that. I mean, who knows? I might have enjoyed RPM better if they had an episode like that. I'm really glad Dylan isn't here for me to be angry towards the name Dylan.
You know, in a way, I know what you're coming from because when way back in Mighty Morphin, when Tommy first became the White Ranger, it would have been cool for Tommy to have like a little one-to-one with Jason or whatever. Like saying, "Hey man, how do you feel about me coming back, and how do you feel about me being team leader and you losing your leadership?" It took until Zeal for him to actually have a moment like that.
Well, yeah,
it actually wasn't Jason that he was actually having to talk to when he became the White Ranger. It was actually Rocky.
No. There were a few episodes where Jason was still, welcome back, was still the Red Ranger when he was the White Ranger.
Yeah.
Oh, that might have been around the time that that the Jason persona, that the Jason character was actually getting ready to move out.
Yeah.
It's when they had to go get the Sword of Light and all that.
Yeah. And
yes, that wonderful thing.
They got rid of them a few episodes after White Ranger came back.
And because of that storyline, they say, "How do you feel about Tommy being team leader?" And Jason's all like, "Well, yeah, it's fine, no biggie." They don't really have a moment where they say, "This is how I feel about losing my leadership." And it was the end of the storyline where Jason becomes the Gold Ranger. They say, "Hey, this is how I personally feel about everything."
Yeah.
The next episode, this has that episode with Rocky feeling jealous. Hey, Jason's back. I'm kind of feeling bummed out right now.
Yeah, no, it's they don't have those moments, and they always hurt.
Well, barely anyway.
Yeah, but and it can be really weird in a way. I mean, again, we'll use Tommy. When he became the Dino Thunder Black Ranger, he kind of took charge.
Well, I can kind of see him and the Red Ranger kind of as like sharing the leadership as sort.
Well,
I don't see him as really. Go ahead.
He took charge for like an episode, and then they did have one of those moments, and he's like, "No, you're right. You lead."
Yeah. I kind of, when Tommy was the Black Ranger, I kind of see him more as like the second in command than as the legit leader, because well, just because he was leader in the past doesn't necessarily constitute him being leader of that team. So.
Right.
Dino Thunder had a very equal team. They all kind of very worked as leaders at points.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm really sad that in the Dino Thunder universe they never pulled a Titanium again, because it would have been really cool if they could figure a way to use the Baku Reno suit.
Yeah.
The what?
Yeah.
In the Aber Ranger movie, there was
The off-colored one.
the ice themed.
Yeah, they're movie mech, right?
Yeah, the movie mech.
They're opposite. It was the
Right.
evil mech for that. His name was Baku Reno, and he kind of revealed a thing that, until then, we didn't know about the Thundersaurus.
What?
You could take the tail off of the red arm and flip a handle out, and it had an arm inside the tail.
Yeah.
You could also do the same for the Triceratops, and it could become a shield.
But
Yeah, well, you know, that was actually one thing that I didn't understand. You know, and this is kind of it is and it isn't diverting from the main topic. But looking at the toys that got made for specifically Dino Thunder, did we not actually get a toy of Baku Reno here
Nope,
in
we
the
did
U.S.?
not. Because we never used Baku Reno at all over here.
I was thinking we did.
No, we never
We
used.
skip over movie mechs, right?
No, because we used. I forget the name, but it was the Unizord from Mystic Force.
Unigon.
Yeah,
Unigon.
but I'm forgetting what name it took when it was
Steedergon.
Well, no, it's Saint name. Like when it was in
it's
robot
Saint.
mode, with Saint Kaiser. That was his
Saint
name.
Kaiser. Yeah.
Yeah. So Saint Kaiser from Magi Ranger was a movie mech, and it became the Phoenix Unizord for Mystic Force.
Mm.
Right.
And we'll probably get Tobaspino next year in Dino Charge because he appears in the TV show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, probably.
But what, Noah?
Well, it's more than that. If you look at some of the stuff with, I wonder if they're gonna do 100 years later.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know. It'd be
That would
interesting.
Yes, it would be very interesting to see how that would
Doubtful.
play out. But anyways,
Personally, kind of getting back onto the topic that we were talking about, I still think, and this is a personal thing, I still think there is hope for Power Rangers to, take off again. However, what really needs to happen, and this is just that y'all can rag me as much as you want for this, I don't care, but I'm going to say it. Saban has got to get out of the 90s and,
Yeah.
Well, I can agree with that.
Y'all wouldn't say anything because y'all agree. We're all sort of like-minded people here. But, anyone who watches this who's diehard, original MMPR fan who likes the way it was written, I'm going to get stabbed tonight, I have a feeling, because I'm saying something bad against that style of writing. It's like, leave it in the 90s. Well, you're not in the 90s anymore. You
have to realize that this is a kid's show made for kids, and that it's targeted for kids now that didn't see Power Rangers in '93, so they don't know anything about.
I understand that, but at the same time, look at other TV shows that are being made for kids. A lot of them, some of them do have the campy kind of feel to it, but the rest of them really don't. And I mean, camp was really big and popular between the 60s and the 90s. You know, I'm looking at, you know, the original Adam West Batman. That was
Thank you.
campy
That is
as hell.
just what I thought. That's just
You
the
know,
thought that popped into my mind.
Is that Toku?
No, but you know, between the but you know, between the 60s and the 90s, camp was popular. You know, once we got into early 2000s, you know, the campy feeling kind of went away. And it's slowly started going away even more than what it had been then. So I don't know why he went right back to camp. You know, because it's that whole feeling. I swear, when I watched I watched one of the first episodes of Megaforce. I swear to God, I was like, "Am I watching Mighty Morphin again? Did they get new actors? Is his name Jason?"
There's what I was looking for. We are kind of gonna see a change here with actually Dino Charge, because
Thank you, Judd Lin.
yeah, Judd Lin's coming back as executive producer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh hell yes! Hell yeah.
Bring on the choir and hallelujah.
But there's also some there's also some really fun stuff that is being shown. Like, we're getting looks into some of the
Characters.
yeah. I mean, pretty much for gold, they're just taking Uchi, changing his name to Ivan, and he's not a samurai, he's a knight. They're just
A lot
doing...
of stuff I've seen from Dino Charge looks really good.
Yeah, they're basically doing the Uchi thing again,
but
with a
changing
knight.
it slightly.
But then
Yeah,
there's Blue, that's a caveman.
Another thing from what I
Well,
hear,
okay.
Yeah, Blue is going to be a caveman.
Oh, poor No-san.
and from what I hear too, the actor who played Ramirez, Robert Baldwin, he's expressed interest in actually coming back for Dino Charge.
Yeah.
That would be
That would
fun
be
if
really-
it worked for if they actually use the cyan suit, because so far they've only confirmed red, black, blue, green, pink, gold, gray, and violet as purple.
They mentioned cyan in the auditions, in the audition papers.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
They mentioned everyone except for Silver and Navy.
Well, I kind of like that. You know, if they're okay, it's one thing, I guess, in my opinion, if they keep the whole series exactly like its Sentai counterpart. But in this instance, if the only thing that they're keeping somewhat similar is only one Ranger, I can live with that. But if they're going to make this big kind of change, I'm all for it. Let's go.
Yeah,
And I would have to agree.
it's
So
fine to copy some things, but it's really bad to just do a complete carbon copy, because if you want to know a really fun
Samurai.
no,
Sorry.
that's actually part of this fun fact I'm going to bring up. So for those who don't know, we actually have this weird
Is it the Halloween episode?
Ring Around the Rosie with Super Sentai Power Rangers in Japan. Because they make Super Sentai, then we bring it over here, adapt it, dub it, and all that.
and then
They
they
take it, bring it over back to Japan, and still
And
name
then,
Power Rangers, redub it using the Sentai cast from the Sentai that we dubbed
Do
over.
people actually watch that in Japan? Like, who
Yeah,
watches
no,
it?
Eating the Samurai
The kids,
dub up.
the kids
Rangers
actually love it.
Do they? That's so...
Yeah, no. The
Why-
kids actually love it in Japan.
And it's really crazy, because this is the fun part when it comes to Samurai. They've pretty much gone, just do Shinkenger again. The same exact.
And then overtime, they subbed the first episodes of Power Ranger Samurai in Japanese.
Yeah.
It's a
Oh my
Shinkenception.
God.
If you go to overtime subs, they actually have the first episode of the Japanese dubbed Power Rangers Samurai subtitled there.
They did it for April Fools this year, but it's a legitimate sub though.
Yeah, it's really
Oh my
ridiculous.
God.
Awesome.
And
No,
they've
I
been
don't
doing
know
it
how
for
to
a
feel
while.
about that.
Shinkenger.
And what's usually the common practice is they just get the cast from the Sentai that this Power Rangers is parodying
And they
to play the
And they done it.
yeah.
Just
And
Didn't they?
well, yeah, I don't quite remember, but
I wonder how they
One of-
select the seasons.
one of my favorite reactions, and later on I'm definitely gonna have to look and see if I can find this, but there was actually huge positive reactions when they got Lightspeed, because they loved Titanium.
Yeah, because they didn't get Titanium.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would have freaked out about that too.
It would
No,
be
they-
awesome to see who did the voice for the Titanium Ranger and
That is a good
Uh,
question. Who did?
Let me see.
I'm still
I
upset.
have a
because I
good
didn't find
guess.
the
I
Legend
have a
one.
good guess.
who do you think it is, CJ? And we'll see if you're right.
The only thing that I can figure, based on the argument that Noah made, in the fact that Liner Boy was pretty much like their sixth Ranger, it wouldn't surprise me if the person who did the voice of Liner Boy for the Sentai was the voiceover for our Titanium Ranger. I mean, I could be wrong, but it would
That
be interesting to
makes
find out.
Is there any way you could check that, Noah? And
I'm trying to, but it's very difficult to. Because when I
Yeah,
search for Lightspeed Rescue, I get
I can find the Korean dub, but I can't find the Japanese dub.
The actual like Japanese dub of Power Rangers is like legit popular over there because the kids like think it's like the best thing, and I think it's like so weird that like not Asians are Sentai members basically.
Yeah.
Well, then again, Lightspeed Rescue, their Blue Ranger is portrayed by an Asian person.
Yeah, but no, they legit think it's
Well-
like the craziest thing that like a white person could be like the Red Sentai member or like something like that. That's why it's so popular and they love it.
Yeah, having all these white people be, or one of black guys the Red Ranger, that must be weird to them.
Have a black guy as a Red Ranger.
Yeah, because they're used to just having all Japanese guys, everyone.
I
It
can't
goes
find.
from being all Japanese people doing, fighting these monsters to, let's see, there's a black person, a Hispanic, a white, someone from France. Hey, we're good.
Yeah,
Diversity, that's something you have to give Power Rangers credit for.
Which
Yeah.
is true.
I
And,
can't
it's,
find this. I'm sorry.
and especially
Nah,
with
that's fine.
We'll find it later.
Remember when Kyo Ranger first came out and everyone thought No Sun was going to be black?
Let's see.
well, I know Ramirez is actually a white guy.
Yeah, he's one of the.
He's
He's one
actually
of the.
French.
Actually,
One of the Baldwin brothers.
Robert Baldwin, Ramirez's actor is actually Canadian. From what I hear.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Canadian.
Well,
He
he's
is-
Canadian, but he's more on the French side. He grew up in the
The-
French area. He's primarily a French actor.
Yeah.
He speaks
You
English,
got
Yeah, and he's from Japan too. He was born in Japan.
Yeah.
What
Because
does he do?
Wikipedia describes him as a Japanese person of Canadian descent.
Interesting.
Okay, well, technically, if he's born in Japan, he is Japanese. He's
Well,
not the way that we see Japanese.
Okay.
However, technically, by
Well,
all standards,
Well,
Oh,
That's the
are we
thing.
now having a debate on now this is turning from Power Rangers vs Super Sentai into a debate on whether someone is Japanese based on the fact they're born in Japan or if they're ethnically
Well, that's the
Japanese.
that's the thing, though, is that my mom, she was actually
Yeah,
born.
we lost Dylan again.
My mom was actually born
Darn.
in Germany, but my grandparents are American, and my mom is indeed not of German descent. So, but she can claim dual citizenship. So,
yeah.
That's how it works. Because you were born in one country, but you're actually
Descended
supposed to
from
live over there. But
Right.
yeah, good old Robert Bobby Baldwin.
Anyways, so I think the best thing we can say here with everyone's kind of opinions on the table is that if I can get this straight, whether we compare one Sentai and one Power Ranger show or compare the whole lot or whatever, is that in all, each have their own flaws and their own each has their own pros and cons. While Sentai, yeah, Sentai, even though it may be more serious and in some instances and maybe more, grounded storyline, Power Rangers can have that too, and Power Rangers can do well with adapting those stories and bringing those over. Say, like, for Go-Go 5 and Lightspeed Rescue. I can give, and then I don't want to talk about this specifically since we're kind of running out of time here, but Power Rangers Time Force and stuff of that nature, because I really like Time Force, but either way. And then sometimes the Sentai's better, but sometimes the Power Rangers is better. So it's kind of a weird conundrum in the fandom, being like, oh, Power Rangers better, oh, Sentai's better, no Power Rangers, no Sentai, and stuff, when in all reality, both of them have their own pros and cons and pieces, and it's really just up to the the person itself on what's better, Power Rangers or Super Sentai.
Well, what really kind of pisses me off, though, in a sense, is when people say, this Power Rangers show, let's just say it's a PR show that people look down on. Let's say, it ruined it. No, it fucking didn't.
It's just an adaptation.
Whoa!
It's the same, like, people say Super Mega Force is raping Go-Kaiger. Go-Kaiger, it's the same as it was yesterday, it's the same as it is now, same as it's going to be next week.
Right.
And it's just, even though, like, it doesn't ruin the history of Super Sentai. Yes, what is it? Power Rangers was adapted here, and most people who watch Power Rangers don't know about Super Sentai, but there have actually, though they're actually, funny enough, there have been references to Super Sentai in America, not just in the sense of Power Rangers, but there was actually this somewhat going on a tangent, but in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, the CGI cartoon that's come out, in one of the episodes, they actually did a direct mention of the name Super Sentai. A direct mention of the name. So Super Sentai, at least to some extent, has seeped into the pop culture in a sense, and with Power Rangers, it technically has. So, but just because a Power Ranger series is bad compared to the original Super Sentai doesn't mean that it ruined it or that it raped anything or did anything like that, because we still have Super Sentai, and if you like Super Sentai, more power to you. If you like Power Rangers, more power to you. But it doesn't mean one ruins the other. They're just adaptations. They're just different versions of people fighting in costumes, giant monsters and robots and all of that. That's all it is. And it can be, people can think it's more than that, but at the same time, that's been the heart and core of Super Sentai and Power Rangers in general. So for all the I don't mean to be mean here, but for all those fans there who are thinking one ruins the other, just shut up, please.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, my time. I'm
Yes.
adding extra innings because I completely forgot to mention this during the main topic thing, and that is we've got one of Power Rangers' greatest contributions ever to this genre, and that is the Battleizers.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Oh yes.
That is actually one aspect of Super Sentai, or that is of Power Rangers that is never seen. Well, let me rephrase that. Very, very rarely seen in Super Sentai. So it's actually a good concept in the American idea to make it its own.
Well, in the Versus movie with Maji and Dekka, Dekka Red actually used the Battleizer from SPD.
Yep.
Yep.
And he also used it, I believe, in the Dekka Ranger movie. That's where he first got it, when he was trying to be recruited into the Fire Squad, and he was given the Fire Squad Battleizer. They legit called it a Battleizer, by the way.
Yeah.
And that only got in there because of, again, they bring the Power Rangers over there, dub it, and then they're like, what is this extra armor thing? Why is Go-Go Red equipping a motorcycle? What is going on? And we end up getting the amazing Battleizers. I mean, I really wish they would make a comeback. Because to me, that was always the one thing I was like, oh, I can't wait to see this season's Battleizer.
Well,
like, you guys can beat bash, hate, and murder on Operation Overdrive as much as you want, but you cannot say that the Red Sentinel Ranger was not the most badass thing ever.
Look,
Well,
I
was just
actually liked Operation Overdrive. I'm going to be honest. I actually liked Operation Overdrive for the simple fact that it was the aspect of the fact that the Red Ranger, you know, just one aspect of the fact that the Red Ranger was not even human. Hence why he was able to combine with the robot sword thing.
Yeah,
you know, whatever he called himself.
that was just
Sentinel Knight.
CJ, I don't mean this in a bad way, but I hate you. You hate happiness. You hate happiness.
I like
you hate
Overdrive.
happiness.
The Overdrive had one of the few one thing that very few Power Rangers have done really well, and that is great villain interplay.
Yes.
There's one thing I was just thinking I will give props to Overdrive for is that the Battleizer, that with the Red and Sentinel Knight, both of them are sentient beings rather than just the Red Ranger or anybody else using some inanimate object.
I will admit.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
Well, we had that in Mystic Force 2 with the dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And technically the Battlefire for the Red Battlefire Ranger for Time Force was alive.
Well, and SPD too to an extent because the dog.
The dog.
Yeah.
Well, well, yes and no. The dog was somewhat sentient, but at the same time, the dog was also robotic. You know, it didn't have a very high level of sentience like Sentinel Knight did.
But anyways,
No,
what are we getting ourselves
not
into?
that phone!
It's
What are we getting
serious business.
Oh, goodness. But either way, to get back to what I was saying, just to really sum everything up, whether you like Power Rangers or Super Sentai or anything, the bottom line is both of them have pros and cons and benefits and detriments. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, detriments. Yeah.
And despite that, we can, as a fandom, still enjoy both, and we can have our own preferences and stuff. Just please, for the people in the fandom out there, just stop going and thinking that one ruined the other, because it's an adaptation. Power Rangers is nothing more than an adaptation of something else. And there's nothing wrong with adapting something. There's nothing wrong with it at all. Even if it's bad, even if it's not good. Even just the fact of solely trying to adapt and trying to take something that's from a different country and from something different and try to do something new with it. That's what Power Rangers was. They tried to do something new with the material that they had, sometimes they copied it, but most of the time they try to do something newer with it and try to adapt it, which is what adaptations are for. And whether it's good or bad, the bottom line is one doesn't ruin the other, and that's what I think the biggest point of us talking about Power Rangers and Super Sentai is that both of them are their own entities, and if you think the Super Sentai did bad on the Power Rangers isn't going to go into blink out of existence just because the Sentai ruined it, and vice versa. And that's really
in much simpler terms.
Well,
yes.
Pretty much. Okay, I will sum this up the easiest way to do it. I'll sum this up a whole lot easier than what he just did.
Yes,
look at the two as two completely separate, different things. Yes. They are, one is based off the other, but they at the same time, with the exception of one season, they are not the exact same thing. One is an adaptation of the other. But it's completely different. So look at it from that aspect.
And for what point they did try to make, I will give them props for at least trying to do something, if trying is. But I would say though that the only thing that's fairly detrimental is how people just whine and moan and bitch about every little thing, and that kind of makes you wonder why do you stick around if people just kind of bitch about everything.
And that's just something that fandoms do, and that's just getting into not only this fandom, specifically the Tokusatsu, Super Sentai, Power Rangers, Kamen Rider fandom in general, but of every fandom that has ever existed from the beginning of fandomhood, or whatever you want to call it. But either way,
that could give you an example of one of the best examples of that ever.
Probably
Just
give-
Star
give-
Trek versus Star Wars.
Oh,
Let's
not even
give us-
that. Just by
Wow.
turning my camera to the side and hi.
No.
Oh,
Ah.
What is it?
wow. We are going to be getting
Oh, no.
comments in the message. This is going to be turning into a brony message
Oh,
board
no,
in 5
no.
seconds.
Read.
If haters aren't hating, you're doing it wrong.
Yes. Yes. I
Amen.
like that.
That is good. That is good.
Ah, we almost lost footage. Okay, we're good. We're good. Everything's okay.
Yep,
Well-
that's
Well-
the brony fandom for you. But either way,
Well,
point being,
Guys, I think we need to wrap this up a little bit.
That's
I
what I'm
think
just trying to
We
do.
do. We've been running just a smidge long. Anyways,
yeah.
So, anyways,
So
let's go.
I will wrap this up real quick. You know, in a nutshell, we like what we like because we like it. Okay, saying that one is better than the other is not right. Like it for what it is. Don't bash someone because they don't see things exactly the same way you do.
exactly.
Uh-huh. Okay, so
Family
now
fun
time.
time.
Yes, but I need to start first because I'm the leader and I'm above you all, despite the fact that you can all talk much better than I can. But either way,
At least
and by
you
the way, I'm just
acknowledge
kidding
that.
about being above. Anyways, but for my shameless plug, I am the Toku Buster on my other websites and stuff. I have a Tumblr blog, I have Facebook, I have Twitter, etc. But a little bit of news just for this podcast. And just for the people on the page, after doing a lot of thinking and a lot of preparing, I am finally going to be doing my first actual video review. I've done blog reviews and stuff before, but I've never actually done a first video review before. And here to announce it publicly, we are going to be, or I, not we, I am going to be doing a review, and it's going to be coming out next week of, if it'll come up, Kamen Rider Double! Woohoo!
There we go. Hey, awesome.
That's all you get.
So what I'm going to be doing is from now on, hopefully during the summer, and then hopefully more once school kicks in, because school is going to be kicking in September for me. Is that so? It's going to be a little bit less frequent then. But every other week, I'm going to have a Toku Buster review up, since that's the name of the show. And so it's like this week we have the podcast, and then the week after I have my review, and then the week after we have the podcast, and et cetera, et cetera. You get the idea. Point being, though, is that I'm finally going to be going for reviews because I just got the script and everything finished, so I can finally start filming and getting everything edited and set up. So please look forward to that. And if you want to be able to catch that review, go to the pages and stuff down in the description and like and click every single button that you can if you would like to, if you feel so inclined. But either way, I just wanted to get this plug in and get everything set up for that. So I'm really happy about that. So look forward to that, everyone. Oh, also, I just forgot to mention something. Now that we take it off screen share, not make it look like a mirror within a mirror within a mirror within a mirror for a split second, we actually did some analyticals on the podcast, our first episode, and after the 2 weeks that we have, our podcast has gone to over 1,000 views. Woo-hoo! Which I have to say, whoever did that, thank you, Lord Almighty, thank you so much for that, because I like to be able to get all of this out there to everyone, to know that our first podcast, which was just kind of a freaking test run, being able to do all the things that we can do here, and then being able to, how do you put it, finalize it more in these ones, it's great. And I love being able to see the support and see our page and everything grow. And to have that 1,000 is amazing. So for everyone here, excuse me, for everyone who's been watching and seeing all of these, thank you very, very much. And I hope you all keep supporting us in the future. And if you guys want, we actually are trying to think of some topics and some things to do. So if you have any topics or any shows or anything you want us to talk about on this podcast, leave it in the comments below and leave it on Facebook pages and Twitter and everything. Tell us. We want to know. We want to have viewer input. We want to know what you guys want to see, because that's the point of it. We want to see what you guys want, because this is not just about us, what we want to talk about. This is about you guys want to know too, and this is our fandom, not just us, but this is our fandom. So if you have any ideas on anything you want us to talk about and why you want us to talk about it, leave it in the comments below and we'll definitely consider it. So now that I got my shameless plug for my websites and stuff and my reviews coming out next week, and then of this stuff, everyone else can go on to their own, so I will leave it to the Beavers. But I'm tiss.
Alrighty. Well, I just recently got a new video put up of my review of the Gabari Changer. Down below in the links below, I am hoping Mr. Thomas Bossman, as he wants to think himself, will put the link to my Facebook page and my channel on there. And so go watch those, send it around, go like the Facebook page. We're trying to get the word out also about these podcasts. So
please,
yes, please spread the love wherever you can. Do it tastefully, not distastefully, because we don't want to come back on us. Whatever you do in your free time is on you. But yeah, if you this is kind of shameless plug for all of us. If you like what you see, be it this podcast, be it Let's Talk Toku, as Mr. Frogs is going to talk about, I'm pretty sure. Like it, subscribe to it, send the word out. We would greatly appreciate it.
Yes.
My shameless plug is done.
Yeah, and also I want to plug for Sebi and his blog and the blah 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 stuff. No one cares. No, I'm kidding. I will put that also in the link below as well. I know I'm a horrible person. I don't care. I still am above you all. No, I'm kidding.
Lord.
Fawning arrogance. Anyways, Frogs, you go and you do your shameless.
Real quick thing before he goes, we actually already have a comment on our on this video, so I'm impressed.
Yes, yay! We got viewer feedback. One is better than none. So whoever you are, thank you.
We love you.
We have two.
Go
ahead, Frogs. Hey everybody, Frogs here. I guess you could say, basically the leader of Let's Talk Toku. I mean, it's a channel. So you don't already know, Let's Talk Toku is a Tokusatsu channel. We talk about, obviously, Tokusatsu things and what's going on in that world and other stuff. You should totally go check us out. We only have 2 episodes out right now, and a little 4th of July thing that we did called the Forze of July.
I bet it justifies everything.
Oh, yeah.
I heard that pun!
We did a little
Pun police.
So yeah, episode 1, we talk about what is Tokusatsu. Episode 2 is figure arts. There's gonna be a lot more content coming out soon. We're trying the best we can, because there's legit only like 5 of us, and there's only 1 actual editor. And yeah, just go like our Facebook page at Let's Talk Toku, or Facebook.com/Toku Explosion. It's just the Let's Talk Toku page. And then go subscribe to us on YouTube at Let's Talk Toku. And yeah, definitely go check us out. You'll have a lot of fun with us, hopefully.
So, does anyone else have any shameless plugs, or is everyone good? I know, Volt, you don't, but Tony, do you have one?
I can say stuff at the end. Go ahead, Tony.
Okay.
For those that may not be familiar with us, there's the Toku Warriors.
Yes, Toku Warriors.
There's Toku Warriors have pages on Google+, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Go check out any podcasts that they've done. 2 of Thomas and I do podcasts with them too.
Yeah.
So if you haven't checked them out yet, be sure to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And they've also got their own blogs too. They're a compilation of many different blogs from mutual friends of ours.
A blog. Nah, I can't figure it out.
Anyways, you want to say anything, Volt?
I just want to say thanks for sticking around for 2 episodes. Maybe stick for a third. Leave comments below of not just topics, but generally what you think.
Yeah, give us feedback if you
like,
think there's anything we should improve on. Do it.
Bow before the crowd on, and just have a nice day.
Yep. And just because, now want to close this out, Kota reaction faces for the win. If my camera will actually work. Gosh darn it, was it? Thank you. Okay, everyone turn their cameras off. We are ending this show, so see you guys.
By the way, I am on. I'm sitting on my bed, and it's all Power Ranger bed sheets and pillowcase.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All
Yeah, I
right.
have to do that. Anyways,
Bye, everybody.
bye everybody. Have a wonderful day. And Kota reaction faces for the win, if this will actually work. Cheese!